welcome. We are SMART, a group of schools from South East Cornwall, and what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be going through some Wand activities and showing you some ways of how we use Wand in our schools. So, come on. Parts of the time.
What would you use this activity for?
In my opinion, I find it really useful, especially with like starter activities when we're walking into the lesson, because it gets us involved in like starting the lesson. It's a really good tool as well because we're using it as teams, so it's getting us interactive together. Personally, I prefer Wand compared to normal bookwork or starter activities.
Due to it's online, online is now really important, especially with the new era of modern technology, and in my opinion I prefer it.
Would you use this as homework?
Yes, I've used it many times as revision guides, and I've been using it, like Mr. Buckley said, in school council meetings with Year 4s, and they really enjoyed it, and I think they will enjoy that growing up and moving into it.
And next activity is?
What would you use this activity for?
When we were doing it as a, when I was doing it as a thing, when we were practicing at school with making the Wand presentations, we were labelling different parts of the heart, and I think it just makes a big difference so you learn how to spell the different parts, and if you get it wrong, it really doesn't matter. It's like, it'll tell you the right answers, and then you can be like, I knew that, I just didn't put it in. And even if you know that it's right, but you don't know the spelling, it'll just influence you to getting the spelling right, and it's just that step forward from bookwork and having to do this check, spell, cover thing, which is really boring.
Would you use this as homework?
Yeah, we, as Mr. Buckley has set us homework in the past where he's written, I think it was parts of like the electricity and all that, and I don't know whether it is electricity or weather, but it was just, you clicked on the label and you're like, right, this is spelled like this. But is that one or that one? And it's just differentiating between the two different ways of learning.
And next?
How do you use Wand, and especially this activity?
You can use this activity for many different subjects, like maths. You could have several different numbers, or maybe 10, and you could have ticks and crosses for the ones that are prime numbers and not prime numbers. So you would have to pick all the prime numbers, and then if you pick the non-prime number, it wouldn't give you the mark depending on what the question said exactly. And if you used it in history, for example, and there were pictures of kings and queens, then you would say have to pick all of the King Henrys or something like that.
Have you had hotspot set as your homework, or have you used it previously?
I have used hotspotters previously because it helps you to know which part belongs to which kind of part of the question.
Do you think hotspot would be good for revision?
Hotspot is good for revision because I have used it, and it helps you know which bit links to the question, as I said previously.
And next?
Would you use crossword as anything?
Yes, when we were making our presentations, and you probably know this, we made them for, it was like for about what we had previously taught, and I think it's good if, like before break or before lunch, if a student wants to stay behind, just to make sure they definitely know what's going on, and rather than the teacher having to explain it all again, they'll be like, right, show me what you have learned in the lesson, and I can tell you what you haven't learned and explain that to you. And also it's very handy as homework if, again, like for spelling and to revise on, say if you have a big test in geography, you could be like, what are the different ways, what is one of the ways of showing height on a map? You could have it as like contours or other things like that. I can't remember the other ones at the moment. It's very, what's the word? Easy to, after a lesson, just to forget everything you've learned, if that makes sense. But with a crossword, you seem to just think, I know that, and I know how to answer that, and it's also quite an interactive way of learning, if that makes sense.
Would you use it at home?
Yes, it's a very good revision work, and it really does help with everything.
And next.
Would you use a puzzle as homework?
Yes, because I find it really fun and interactive, and it actually gets me going because it's a really good way to warm up your brain going on to like past activities. So you could have it as like labelling of like the earth for geography, for example, or you could have it just as a picture. Or so, for example, like Spanish, what I do, having like a place you know, having to learn where it is. So I do find it very useful.
How would you use a puzzle in your lessons?
Well, I've actually used puzzles before, and I think it's really good because, like I've said before, it's getting us interactive. But like, it's a really good starter activity for people like racing and trying to beat each other. I think it's really encouraging.
Okay, and next.
Would you use the trivia for any subject?
I think the trivia is quite good because it, rather than as previous experiences, it's always been the teacher writes a question on the board and it gives you a certain amount of time to answer it on a piece of paper, and then at the end you go through it and you've always got a thought of you've always got a thought of, is that right? What if that's not right? And on one of these, it'll tell you as soon as you've answered it whether it's right or wrong. And I think just knowing at the time that you've got it right, or thinking to yourself, now I know what that is, next time we do a quiz I'll get it right.
So at the end of your activity, you can teachers can send you off and you can do homework. So you can use the testing activity, and you can be able to test and we're moving on.
No, please don't leave. May I keep you here for 10 more minutes?
Yes.
Please go to homework. I would like to ask our dearest experts to answer some short questions. You did these activities yourselves, did you? Was it difficult?
It was a challenge.
It was a challenge. It was a challenge. How did it make you feel when you got those right?
Proud.
Proud. That's important. Another answer? Proud. Something else?
It made you feel like you knew more than you thought you did.
Aha, knowledgeable. Knowledgeable and proud. Very important. Something else?
Confident.
Confident. Confident. Proud, knowledgeable, confident students. We all want that in our classrooms, no matter where they are. It's really, really important. Now, I'd like to ask Morgan to show us the homework. So, what you do with all these amazing activities our students did here, showed us here, you can turn them into homeworks. And you can send them across any kind of device, any kind of platform, to your students. So you, as a teacher, can have an extension to what happens in the classroom afterwards. And, for example, you can have a homework and schedule it for tomorrow, and have your students do it by 8 o'clock in the evening. And the thing is that you're a teacher. For example, you teach maths, and you know that for that particular subject that you taught today, there might be a common mistake students usually do. And you make up your homework, the set of questions you used, to check that particular issue. The interesting thing is that this is what you get from your students. Let's go to the reports. And by next day in the morning, when you have your coffee in your kitchen, you have this. Let's go to the sample homework. You taught the lesson in the classroom, complicated subject. There must have been some things you'd like to clarify. And then, thank you, and then you used Wand to take it one step further and sent that particular set of questions checking what you've taught. And you get this, you get very, very good analytics. You get an overview of the situation in class, and then let's look at this sample here. You get information for every single answer in the question set. So by just looking at these answers, in one glance, you can see what went wrong in class, what were the things that they didn't understand, and what went well. It's that easy. You assess for learning. And you take quality learning from the classroom, and you bring it into every single student's home. That's what Wand does. We've heard, thank you very much. We've heard very, very important messages tonight. His Excellency said, we're living in a dynamic world, and it is dynamic. Future will not help and will not wait for us to open the door so it can come in. It will come in anyway. Now, what we have here is a powerful yet minimalistic tool. Something that can allow teachers to create content. And it's not just a fad. I'm not creating content because I would like to be the next Shakespeare. I need it. I need it because my teaching needs to be personalized. Because I have a responsibility for my children. And I have such diverse classrooms from every point of view. Judging by skill set, judging by personality, cultural background. So I need to create that content. But content, that particular content, has to be tailored for them. For Morgan, for his wonderful colleagues. And they like to interact with information. They have to stick their fingers into concepts. This is how they learn. This is how they learn every single day. We have to provide them that opportunity. But you don't have to be a Microsoft programmer to create that particular kind of content. And this is what Wand does. You saw it. They did it majestically. And it made them feel good, confident, empowered. That's what a good educational tool should do. Because it's more than grades. It's about attitudes. It's about values. It's about what happens in class. We say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. In this case, educational added value is in the mind of the learner. So, what we do with this, we said we create new content. We create good interactive activities. But we can also make use of the content we already have. And if we go here, you'll see the Wand repository. Professor Shukurana was talking about 45,000 multimedia lessons. That's a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of multimedia. And this particular wealth of multimedia will be made available for people who use this sort of content creation tools. So, I can create fresh content, I can make use of the content I already have. The interesting thing is that I can make also use of other teachers' expertise. Because in this particular repository, we can have lessons from various teachers across the country, across the world. Teachers who agree to share the great work they did. And you can take that particular expertise, edit it, and make it suit your needs in classroom every single time. So, to conclude, you have wand. It's not magic. This is not Hogwarts. This is proper, coherent, easy to use education. The magic, as Mr. Shuburan always says, the magic is done by the teachers. The changes happen in their minds. What wand does is provide you with this powerful yet easy to use tool which can generate change. Not magic change, real change. Better competencies, more confident students, better classroom atmosphere, good, solid education. Thank you.